Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to do the first update for my project Level Up. And if you're unfamiliar with this project, this was started by Sophie Alexandra. I will have her linked in the cards down below in the description box, as well as in the end card of the video. So at the very end of the video, if you want to just like wait to that, that's totally cool too. But she created this project to kind of get more use out of her eyeshadow collection as a whole, almost like a no pan left behind. And that's kind of how I'm going to be doing this because, this year in 2022, I am trying to touch every single eyeshadow in my collection, at least that's in a palette. And I've been doing a really good job with it, if I can toot my own horn with that. So the whole idea of this project is level one is I'm just going to pull a palette that's on my desk. So level one is you use every single shade in the palette one time and you hit one pan in a shadow in here. Then level two is you use every single shade in here twice, and then you have to hit 2 pans. Level three, you have to use every shade 3 times, 3 pans kind of thing. I believe it's either 5 or 6. At level 5 or 6, you can decide to actually restart at level 1. You don't have to do like level 10 or whatever and do 10 and then 10 pans. So I think I'm going to probably do level 5 and then go back to 1 personally, just because I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes with a lot of pans in them, like the Natasha Denona 28 pans, and then like the BH Cosmetic I think has 35 pans. Like I have a lot of shadows that can, like if I went up and up, it could be crazy. Like this project could be like insane. So the big elephant in the room is if you saw any of my like overhead videos with my single shadows, you would know that I did depot and declutter a lot of my Juvia's Place palettes. I depotted all of my Juvia's Place palettes, and then I decluttered a good majority of those shadows, to be quite honest. So I no longer have the Saharan 2 palette, which was my level 1 item, but I am glad that I actually rolled level 1 and level 2 into the project at the same time. I don't think I'll roll 2 palettes in at the same time anymore, just because I have a lot of eyeshadows I'm working on, and when I'm doing my pan those eyeshadows, I am trying to touch every pan in that palette. So I don't feel the need to, I don't know what I was trying to say. I went off on a tangent. Oof. I don't feel the need to have 2 palettes is what I'm trying to say, especially as we get into these higher levels. So the Prism palette by ABH was my level 2 palette, and I'm glad that I kind of got this one knocked out and now it's off my my Tiny Wheels app, because I do not support ABH at all. So I am glad that I got my 2 uses out of every shade and pan. That is a little spoiler. That is why I'm updating. I decided I'm only going to update this project when I actually have progress to show. So this is what we're looking like now. And the 2 pans I hit, it's really hard to see in this one, but there is that little tiny, like what people call the nipple of the pan, like how these ones have like a little raised nub. There is a little raised nub showing in the shade Lucid. It's super hard to see. There's actually pan around it as well. Again, it's super hard to see just because of the color of the actual shade. And then the second pan we hit was in Dimension, and how I hit pan in Dimension is actually as the nail polish. So I don't often do nail polish as my, or eyeshadow as my nail polish, because I use gel and it usually just doesn't work out. But I found a trick that I like, and it's actually I mix either like a gel or not a gel. I mix my like gel top coat with the eyeshadow itself. I do the same thing with my glitters. I kind of create like a fancy top coat almost, and it actually cured so much better. Normally if I do like the trick that Rebecca Morgan showed, which is like paint it on top, it doesn't work. So creating like a gel polish concoction is actually like much nicer, and that is how I got the pan in that today, or for that shadow. So it's a little cheaty, but like that's how I used it. I don't necessarily, I used to really love that shade, and now I just don't. It's just like too dark for my eyelids and just like too cool toned. I used to really, really love that shadow, but not so much anymore. Every shade was used at least twice. There were a handful of shades that I used over 2 times, that was Lucid, Dimension. Surprisingly, I used Osiris 3 times as well. And then Eden as well, this guy here. It just went with some of my Pan Those eyeshadow shades. So I did reach into each shade twice. This palette is looking a lot more loved with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pans in it. So half of the palette is panned now, which is pretty cool. Dimension obviously has the largest pan. Not necessarily the largest usage, but the largest pan in there now. But I'm excited to just like put her away for like an extended period of time. So there is that. So because we hit the goal on that, and because we no longer have level 1, I just kind of was like, level 1's fine. Level 1 was like, it was okay that we did that. I have my Tiny Wheels app, and I did take a couple palettes off of the wheel to be like very, very honest with you. So because I'm panning the Subculture palette, I took my Natasha Denona Safari palette off the list along with my C Color. No, I do have my C Color palette on there. So we took the Savannah or the Safari palette off. I took the palettes that are in my Pan Those eyeshadows off the list because I don't want to like double dip in the project. And I took off the Prism palette. So that can no longer be rolled into this project. But I did get 2 new palettes. One was sent to me in PR, and I want to just say thank you so much. I had no obligation to talk about this, but I freaking love this palette so far. This is the Druid palette by Fantasy Cosmetica, and I've used these 2 greens and then this whole bottom row. This whole bottom row is in my look today. This is beautiful. And then I grabbed the Plain Jane palette remastered by Adept Cosmetics, and it's tucked away, and I really just don't feel like getting it and showing you it right now. This was just on my desk. So let's just roll. Both of those palettes are now in my list, and I'm excited to just like roll and see what we get. Oop. So I'm just gonna hit this a couple times. No! Oh my gosh. This is a 28 pan palette. Frogs. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. And this is what she is looking like. And I am not going to lie. I am hella nervous about this. Because if you know anything about me, I do not typically gravitate towards purples. And I struggle reaching for blues as well. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. All right, well, we're gonna have a good solid while with this one right now, which is totally fine. I do have a couple, like a shade with a dip, which is this guy here. That is Piggy. I do have a pretty solid dip in there. I do have 2 pans in this shade here, Calypso Blue, and then this shade here, Oxide. Those were both in my Pan Those eyeshadows. Man, I am scared. I am scared to say the least about having to use each of these 3 times. And 3 pans. Oh my goodness gracious. So we will see how we do. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 months. Ooh, maybe what I should do is like do little 5 pans with my Natasha Denona palettes and like just use like hunks of these palettes at a time. Let me know if you would like to see a video of like me just curating like a little 5 pan using this and my green brown palette, and I can definitely like record like a compilation, maybe not like a dedicated video about it, but I can do like a couple weeks of like those palettes together and then show that in a video. Let me know if you'd like to see that, but I am nervous to say the least. Let me know how you would wear and pair any of these shades, because I'm not gonna lie, like this blue here, I like, as much as I'm drawn to that color, it scares me to wear that, and I'm not big on cool tones, so I'm very nervous. Ugh. All right, well, we got to get use out of the collection anyway, and this was a very expensive palette, so regardless, I am excited to work on something that is so expensive. It wasn't necessarily the one that I wanted to be picked this month, but that's okay. That is fine. Things happen and we just gotta roll with it. So I will be using this and a lot of other eyeshadows for the next foreseeable future. And there is that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you're staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!